The vast majority of the time when I do a movie review on this channel, while I'm actually watching the movie, I'll take notes of things I noticed, things that stood out, and things that I think need to be mentioned in a review. This time around, I did not do that, but regardless of that, I can say pretty solidly and comfortably that Baby Driver is absolutely fantastic. When I first saw the trailers for this movie, I thought, yeah, that looks pretty cool, but the title of the movie is somewhere between and total cringe. And I could argue that's still kind of the case, especially when you're trying to text people to go to this movie and you're like, hey, you want to go see Baby Driver? And if they haven't heard of the movie, they're going to be like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? Don't let that get in your way from seeing this movie. Whoa. Before going on, I have to say that I am a person that very seldom notices certain directing styles of particular directors in their various movies. There are exceptions to that, however, and maybe top of that list is Edgar Wright. I'll always remember first watching Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, at the time not knowing who directed it, and then eventually coming home and thinking, man, there was a lot of elements in that movie that reminded me of certain bits from Shaun of the Dead. Sure enough, Edgar Wright behind both of them. There is a decent bit of those same elements here in Baby Driver that you see happen, and you're like, Edgar Wright, doing your thing, man. But I feel like everything about that entire directorial style has evolved in Baby Driver and brought in new elements that I feel like I haven't really seen before in a movie, and it is a total pleasure. And kind of has me wondering, like, maybe Academy Award, but I'm probably getting ahead of myself because, again, that's probably not my area. One thing that I think you particularly have to mention with this movie is that it is not your typical modern day car chase movie. A lot of the times in car chase scenes of modern action movies, you get a lot of shaky cam effect to basically just artificially heighten the drama and make things look more frantic than they are. These scenes, for the most part, are very smoothly edited. The camera feels very well in place, like it was focused where it needed to be, rather than relying on shaking effects to make things look more intense. There was a very smooth feel to the action scenes, and the action scenes themselves are very captivating because of it. They pull you in that much more. The character development, at least in regards to the main characters, I also thought was fantastically done. Early in the movie, with the main character of Baby, I got a little bit worried that they were going to go overly kind of quirky with him, how they do with some characters of, this character's so out there and different and quirky and you're going to love him for it. They give that sense early on, but it absolutely doesn't pan out like that. And if anything, those little things early on have a payoff to the eventual story arc of that character. The rest of the characters involved in the movie are all very relatable. They're believable and just, for the most part, pretty enjoyable, whether they be a total wild card that might screw up an entire situation, a hard-nosed mob boss that's not really gonna take any shit but still knows that business is business and he's got to do what's best, or just anyone in general. I also got to give props to the main girl in this movie, because as far as the kind of innocent waitress type role that you would see in a movie that's almost a cliche, I don't know if it's been done better than she did in this movie. Kevin Spacey was fantastic. John Hamm was fantastic. And the main guy that I can't think of his name that played Baby was absolutely fantastic. In my opinion, though, the one aspect of this movie that hands down separates it from most other action movies is the movie's soundtrack. But I'm not just talking the songs that they selected for the movie, but more so the way that they integrated the soundtrack into the actual movie. Gunshots go in beat with the songs playing. The turns of the steering wheel, crashes of cars all mesh together to fit the songs that are playing. It was incredible to see and hear, and it pulls you into the moment that much more of this character that really cares about music, having these songs basically narrate and be the soundtrack to his life as they're essentially unfolding with these insane moments within his life. It felt very unique. It was very fresh. It was very well done. I'd be curious to see how it could be done better maybe in the future, but for now, I can't think of anything that's done it quite like this, and as far as that aspect goes, if that's as good as it gets, fine by me. Anyway, I don't want to say too much more about the movie because then we could drift a little bit into spoiler territory. I will say that as of the time I'm recording this video, it's still rocking a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Admittedly, if I was giving the movie a score, I might have landed at like a 96, which is like, if that's a pessimistic side of things, should kind of tell the story. All around, I thought Baby Driver was absolutely fantastic. Edgar Wright has done it yet again, and maybe as well as ever, and it just did something new and did something fresh, rather than resorting to a lot of things that other action movies have fallen into that you could consider bad habits. So anyway, that is my thoughts on Baby Driver. I would love to know what everyone else thought about this movie, if you loved it as much as I did. So, whatever you thought, leave those thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, you know I always appreciate you hitting that like button. But above all else, everybody, thank you so much for watching.